Matters, the class designed to empower you to better health through knowledge and education. And I'm your host, Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center. We're located at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park. That is in Pooler, Georgia. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. If you have a question, we'd love for you to stop into the office. But short of stopping into the office, the next best way to get a hold of me would be to call my cell phone directly at area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. That is my personal cell phone. Please do not text that phone, as that phone is not equipped to receive texts. I will never get your text. You will never get a response. And then maybe you get frustrated, and that would defeat the purpose for why you're trying to reach out to me. But you can always email me directly at docrick, D-O-C-R-I-C-K, docrick@spineboy.com. And whether you call, whether you email, or whether you stop in, it's my pleasure to help you to better understanding with the concerns that you have regarding your health. This class is called When Your Health Matters. It's not up to me when it matters. It's actually up to you when it matters. You decide when your health is important. Personally, I feel it should be your most important asset. It's the thing that you should spend the most amount of time, energy, and effort to get an education and an understanding in an effort to support you to be as close to 100% as possible. And what I'm going to talk about today is probably the greatest epidemic, the greatest reason for us getting old before we would like to, developing chronic illnesses and diseases, and needing joint replacement, needing organ or gland replacement, just simply because of what we've done to ourselves and what's going on in our society. So this condition is called a systemic yeast and Candidia imbalance. Because we're a symptom-oriented society, every time our children experiences a symptom, we have a tendency to run to the doctor, and the doctor would typically prescribe an antibiotic. Whether the child had a bacterial infection or not, the child would get an antibiotic. And once you take an antibiotic, you've disrupted your body's ability to absorb and process whatever food it is that you're eating, and it's going to lead to cravings of things that you probably don't want to eat. Why? Well, when you take an antibiotic, you destroy the good bacteria that is part of the microbiome that is made up of good bacteria, healthy yeast, and healthy Candidia, which are two types of fungi that exist within the intestinal system. And they help to break down and process the foods and utilize sugar the way that it's supposed to be utilized. Well, the challenge is when you take an antibiotic and you've destroyed the good bacteria, now the yeast and the Candidia, which want to feed off of sugar, don't have anything keeping them in check. So you're going to start to crave sugar, and when you feed your body sugar, you're going to increase the yeast and the Candidia, causing you to become a yeast factory, a sugar factory, and you're going to have various health imbalances as a result. Normal, healthy digestive system has a proper balance between the good bacteria, the yeast, and the Candidia. And so an unhealthy digestive system, when you have the excess amounts of yeast and Candidia, you get yeast infections, Candidia infections, you get increased food sensitivities, or what sometimes would be called allergies. You get a suppressed immune system, not a good thing to have currently in our health climate that we're in. You're going to get viral infections, again, not healthy. Parasitic infections, underlying cause for lots of chronic health concerns. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. These are all things that result as a consequence to taking antibiotics and not following up with a proper probiotic and a second supplement to help reduce the excess amounts of yeast and Candidia. So the person begins to crave sweets, complex carbohydrates, your grains, your breads, your cereals, in an effort to feed that overgrowth of yeast and Candidia. Over time, this is going to lead to a condition called leaky gut syndrome. And when you have leaky gut syndrome, undigested food particles, your complex proteins, have a tendency to leak across into the bloodstream. And when you get a foreign protein in your blood, your immune system is going to attack it. That immune complex is called an allergy. And if it came in through the food route, it would be a food allergy. If it comes in through your respiratory route, it'll be an airborne allergy. And if it comes in through the contacting your skin, it's known as a contact allergen. So what ends up happening when you get leaky gut syndrome, you get maldigestion, food allergies, and an increase in stomach pH. Now, when you have an increase in stomach pH, you're going to get heartburn, you're going to get indigestion, eventually you're going to get acid reflux. And as a result of that, which most healthcare practitioners don't even understand, they want to give you an antacid. Well, if you don't have enough stomach acid, then the foods in your stomach are going to ferment. And it's the foods that ferment in your stomach that creates acids of fermentation, okay, that causes you to get the gas, the bloating, the indigestion, and the heartburn. Giving a person an antacid only compounds the problem. You're not going to be able to absorb calcium, which gets absorbed in the stomach with a acidic pH. So those who take antacids and you're not able to absorb your calcium, you're going to have muscle weakness, muscle cramps. You're going to get immune system problems, weakened immune system, so that you get more infections. You're going to get osteoporosis. You're going to get, like I said, the muscle cramps. And as you can see, taking antibiotics can cause several common health issues that we all experience today if you don't follow up with the proper remedy to taking an antibiotic. Now, the other interesting thing is 70% or more of the antibiotics manufactured in this country are put into our food supply. So they're used to treat the chickens and the other livestock, the cows, the pigs, etc., in an effort to keep them in close captivity from developing infections and the sharing of those infections throughout the stock. And so what ends up happening is, as a result of that, we eat those food sources, and then we get the effects of having consumed antibiotics without actually taking antibiotics. And so what ends up happening is you need to ask yourself a question. Why do I get infection? Why do I get sick? Why do I worry about things like COVID? Why do my kids develop bacterial infections every fall? Why does this happen? And the thing of it is if you don't have a proper balance within your intestinal system between the good bacteria, the yeast, and the Candidia, then you're going to develop sensitivities, you're going to develop a suppressed immunity, and then you're going to become a breeding ground for infections, whether it's bacterial, viral, yeast, or parasitic. And these are the conditions that people have that I've seen for the last 32 years. So there's also two other very specific nutrients that you need to consider having a high abundance of on a regular basis. And that would be calcium, which is what we need in order to have a strong immune system, nervous system, musculoskeletal system, in order for all the organs, glands, and tissues to function the way that they're supposed to, and to have good, strong defense. If you don't have enough calcium, then you get the cells, they shrink upon themselves in an effort to conserve proper ratios. And instead of having good tight junctions between the cells, now you have a gap between those cells, which is going to allow any kind of infection just simply to walk in. Sort of like our southern border. People can just walk in without any resistance at all, and that's not okay if it's your personal health system that should be combating these things. So the thing that's going to help that is making sure that you have enough calcium within your body. It's the most abundant mineral in our body, and you need plenty of it on a regular basis in an effort to keep everything working the way that it's supposed to. Last but not least, the second most important nutrient that we can get is the whole food vitamin C complex. Not ascorbic acid, not the ascorbigen bastardizations that are out there in the health food supplement industry. Calcium ascorbate. It's not the way that nature intended for you to get either calcium or vitamin C. So vitamin C in its whole food form has ascorbic acid, has the bioflavonoid ascorbigen compounds. It has vitamin P, which keeps you from bruising, vitamin K, which allows you to clot properly, and vitamin J, which increases oxygen utilization within the cell. And all of those components are part of the whole food vitamin C complex. So if you're eating anything other than a whole food vitamin C complex, you're depleting your body of all those necessary components in an effort to process the excess amounts of, let's say, ascorbic acid that you're getting. So taking high dosages of ascorbic acid actually creates problems by depleting your body of the other components. And you definitely don't want to do that. So to review briefly, if you have a systemic yeast Candidia imbalance, you're definitely going to want to come talk to me so that I can get you on a high quality probiotic, but also get you the supplement that's going to eat up the excess yeast and Candidia so that you stop craving sugar. This will allow your immune system to start decreasing its response to foods, etc. It'll help support the healing process of your bowels so that you're not creating food allergies and sensitivities and suppressed immunity and all of those things. And the way to make sure that that stays the way that it's supposed to is by having plenty of calcium and having plenty of whole food vitamin C. So I hope you got something out of today's class. I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to ask you to call me if you have any questions at 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. Or email me directly at docrick, DOCRICK, at spineboy.com. You can stop into the office. We're at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park. Again, that being in Pooler, Georgia. And it's my pleasure to help you. It's my pleasure to answer your questions. Please reach out to me. And if you stop into the office, I promise you I'll give you a brief evaluation just for stopping in. Just because I generally tend to be curious about what's going on with people and I want to help you. So that's it for this week's show. Thanks again for tuning in. Tune back in next week. Same health time, same health station. This is Dr. Richard Untoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center saying, I look forward to supporting you when your health matters.